Oh, Tay, everybody coming to see the boy. All right, hold on.
What you over here doing?
We doing the top. We all the way live. All the way live. Baby.
You live with it now?
Straight live. I'm live today. I'm live today now. If my thing don't keep on down now.
That's what's up. Who your interviewee?
See, I want would that work like that?
That's how it's up. Right.
Shut up. But see, look. See that?
Turn it the other way. Turn it
sideways, kid.
Sideways. Here, y'all help me out. I don't work on Apple products.
That's what.
There you go.
That's all he.
Oh, okay. So now we really cooking with grease.
Look good. We good, baby.
Thank you, Gabby. All right, let me see here. And now let me see. Flip the camera. There we go. All right. Let me see. I need some else to pop in front of this thing.
This is mine.
Need something else to pop in front of. All right, girls. Yeah. See, you ain't gonna be able to see you. I gotta be right here. Gotta be right here with you. Let's see here.
What's up, man? How you doing? I'm telling you. How you doing? Hey, you know what? We ought to recreate it. Yeah, we got to do it, man.
They ain't ready for that, Mr. Jared. They're not ready for that. Are they ready for that?
We got to recreate it, man. We got to do it just like you guys did it before.
Here, hold on.
We got to do it. It's essential. It's essential. We got to do it.
If we do it, here, my one stipulation, if we do it, no more Duke jokes.
Okay. Now, this is a classic. This is a classic.
I'm going to get a tall tee and everything.
All right, now we are cooking with grease, my man, Jeremy Hardwick. Thank you,
sir. Long time.
Thank you. All right.
What's up, kids? You got kids right
Test it. Oh, we live, baby. We live. Hey, who is this behind me? Oh, my man. One of the all-time greats, Elijah Jones in the building. Here, grab the mic. Let me see you now.
Test. Here we go.
Oh yeah, we definitely good. We definitely good over here. Woo! Hey, have you seen the list?
I've seen 26 through 50. Yes, sir.
You seen 26 through 50. Are you ready to see the top 25? Are y'all ready to see the top 25? Mr. Holder, are you ready to see the top 25?
I'm ready for what comes with that.
Woo!
Comment section ready to be on fire.
It's already been on fire, man. It ain't stopped. Can't stop, won't stop. Can't stop, won't stop. Hey, first of all, I posted a position player rankings, and I'm stupid. For some reason, one of the players that I have on the list, for some reason, I put down in my notes, or I thought, for some reason, I don't know, I'm stupid. I put down he was a wide receiver when he was really an offensive lineman. How do you make that mistake?
I can say why you made that mistake. Exactly, because you're a kid.
I guess so. But, ladies and gentlemen, all right, we're going to start this off. Like I said, I miscounted one and gave a wide receiver an extra person. It should have been offensive lineman. And that person coming in at number 25 is offensive lineman from the 80s, Dave Herrick. Now, a lot of people will say, you know, why Dave Herrick? Well, Dave Herrick was one of the great offensive linemen of the 80s. You know, he backed up. Well, I say backed up. He helped protect quarterback, a guy by the name of Rich Shepard. You heard of him before?
Old coach here, yeah.
The old ball coach over there. There he goes, the Silver Fox. And he was one of the great offensive linemen of his time. And here's one of the things I can say about him. People have told me over the years he was great, and it wasn't until recently that I found out he was the first player in school history to go to Michigan. I always thought Chris Graham was that guy. I know you Notre Dame guys.
Sure he made the top 25 list?
Oh yeah, he made the top 25. But one of the really cool things about him, he went up to Michigan to play for Bo Schembechler, legendary coach. And one of the things I know about Bo, being my time as a Michigan fan, go Blue. I know we got you guys coming up here soon. Bo loved guys that played in the trenches. Hard-nosed, tough offensive linemen, okay? And a guy like Bo would not recruit you if he felt like you couldn't help make his program better. And that right there tells me all I need to know about Dave Herrick, man.
Yeah.
So I wish I could give you guys more information about him, because offensive linemen, they don't really have stats, you know.
No, they don't get the shine like
they don't.
Like the playmakers,
No, they
the
don't.
receivers, or running backs.
No, they unfortunately do not. But from what I've been told, if there had been a Mr. Football back in the 80s for him, he would have won offensive line Mr. Football hands down. So Dave Herrick makes our list at number 25. And coming in at number 24, woo, this guy right here. You know, this guy, he was like our very own Reggie Bush. Okay?
Yeah.
Running back. Of course, he could throw the ball a little bit if we asked him to. Catch the ball. He did a lot of returning. He was an all-purpose legend here in the school. And that person coming in at number 24 is running back Eric Williams. Running back Eric Williams, man. He was really, truly just an outstanding running back, man. In his time here at Warren, he rushed for over 1,800 yards in his senior season with 29 touchdowns. He would end up with over 3,000 yards total, rushing, receiving, and kick returning yards. Over 50 total touchdowns. He was a team MVP. He was the IFCA top 25 in the state. One of the top-ranked running backs coming out of the state in 2008, his senior season. Just an all-around great back. And if you sat here and watched him play, like I said, I call him Reggie Bush. He was quick, fast, tough, man. He did a lot of things that we saw Reggie Bush do when he was at USC. So he comes in at my list at number 24.
Yeah, I remember Eric, man. Good kid, great runner.
Absolutely.
Runner,
Absolutely.
athlete. Yeah.
Absolutely. And you're going to see on this list, you know, people is like, well, man, we got a lot of guys out there, man. We're all the agile guys. We're going to have some agile guys on this list, all right? Now, I'm going to have some, like, let's wait till we get to the top 5. Let's wait till we get to the top 5. I can't wait. All right, number 23. One of, I think he's probably the second best linebacker in school history. A guy that he followed up one of the greatest linebackers in school history. Not quite. But he followed up. His number was called upon when he was a sophomore to come in and make plays.
Does he got the timely
season.
sack? The timely sack in the state game?
I mean, this guy right here. And ladies and gentlemen, coming in at number 23, we have none other than Andre Hatchett. Andre Hatchett, ladies and gentlemen.
Finally got a good one.
Better known as Hatch. This guy right here was absolutely a monster. Everything you will want from your prototypical middle linebacker, Andre Hatchett did it, okay? In his career, all right, he had well over 300 tackles. Over 300 tackles. It's an absolute tackling machine. 6 sacks, 2 interceptions. He had 140 total sacks, or 140 total tackles just his senior year alone. Ooh. Like, this man was an absolute beast. 2-time All-State player, of course, All-MIC player as well. He should have won Mr. Football at linebacker, of course.
Definitely.
With those numbers, I don't know what they were thinking, but he is definitely one of the greatest linebackers in school history, man. Just a phenomenal guy to really watch and stuff like that. Very quiet, but man, when he hit you, you
very
heard
humble
it.
kid. Yes.
When he hit you, it was boom. Oh.
Do you remember at Ben Davis, the goal line stand he had when he hit that dude and stared him down?
Come on now,
Yes,
you better believe I remember that.
Good times.
Man, I remember going over to Ben Davis over to the west side and whooping up on them like there was a redheaded stepchild. Come on now.
Definitely.
Come on now. Woo.
But yes, I'm actually still pretty close with Andre. We text from time to time. He's a good dude.
Yes.
Family man now.
Great guy. He was at a game last year.
He's actually moved back to Indy. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Great guy. All right, moving on. And this is a guy coming in at number 22, a guy that people was like, well, you know what? you're not getting a lot of guys from back in the day. You know, Warren Central history is so deep and adverse and all this, that, and that. Like, guys, I understand that, all right? You know how much flack I've caught for not having more guys on there from the 90s and the 80s and the 70s and the 60s. I get it, but, you know, in my eyes, in my view, and I set the criteria up there, we've had so many guys eclipse those guys. It doesn't, like, I don't mean it as a slight to them, but unfortunately, I don't consider them some of the top 50 greatest anymore, okay? Just because you passed for 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns in 1954,
different times,
different ages. I get that.
A lot of stats going on now. A lot of stats going up.
This guy right here, coming in at number 21, or number 22, excuse me, just a phenomenal individual, was like Mr. Everything, and that person is none other than Mr. Terry Woodburn. Like a guy that was one of the of his day, probably the all-time greatest player in school history, before a guy that's later on our list decided to lace up the pass and play here. But he was everything. He played running back, wide receiver. Just back in the day, man, he did everything for the team.
The leather helmet days, yeah, he did everything.
South All-Star?
Yeah, exactly. He went on to play at IU and did good things over there. So he's definitely worthy of being on this list, and I'm glad that I've had the opportunity to actually know him from his time when he was a teacher in the building. That's an absolutely phenomenal guy all this time later, man. Very humble individual.
Yeah, I never would have known he played here.
Yeah, of course, man. I mean,
ever talked about
they got his banner hung up over there, and, you know, and that just goes to show you how great of a guy he was.
His kid played here, too.
There you go.
Sounds quarterback.
There you go. All right, moving down, number 21, and this guy, you know what? I'll unveil number 21 and 20 to you, so you. So.
Oh, 21. Yes, number 21 on the list. Actually, I'm really best friends with his cousin.
Okay.
Another great guy. Not much else to say about him, but number 21 on the list, Mark Bonds.
Mark Bonds, one of the all-time great running backs of the era that he came around. Here's a crazy thing about Mark Bonds. He was the very first 3-time All-MIC selection player in school history, man. That was something that's only been accomplished, I believe, 3 other times. And those guys are later on the list as well. We'll talk about them at a moment. But I think if you guys listen to the show, you guys know who those other 3 guys are. But Mark Bonds was just absolutely amazing. Helped lead the team to the 2003 state championship game victory. When he left the school, he was an all-time leading rusher in conference and school history, man.
I did not know that.
That's incredible.
It is, yeah.
That is absolutely incredible. He came in, played a lot as a freshman, and then as a sophomore really took over. As a junior in 2002, was part of the four-headed monster that each of them rushed for 1,000 yards each. And that his senior season, man, he was just him, Desmond Tardy, Aaron Lacey. Those guys were a force to be reckoned with, and one of the reasons why a lot of the guys from the 2003 team feel like their team is really one of the all-time greats is because they had a guy that they could put the ball in, they put the ball in his hands, and, you know, let him do what it do. So in the state championship game, he had 180 yards and 3 touchdowns.
I didn't know that. I just remember Desmond run all over the field.
Well, Desmond did run all over the field, too.
I know.
We'll get to that player later. We'll get to him later on the list. But, yeah, coming in at number 21, Mark Bonds. And one of my all-time favorites, I know I just saw him around here somewhere. He's here somewhere, but coming in at number 20, a defensive lineman, a guy that was agile, quick, one of the most athletic individuals I can remember ever playing that position. Chris Harley, defensive tackle, defensive end. He could play anywhere on the line where Coach Clark wanted him to play. This guy was a phenomenal player, man. Just in his junior season alone, where we won state in 2009, he had 89 tackles. No. Got my notes mixed up there, excuse me. He had 91 tackles his junior season, 19 tackles for loss, 7.5 sacks, just an absolute monster. And he played a lot of offense. He would go in and help the offense block when needed to. he was never a selfish player, man. Anything Coach Hart or those guys wanted from Chris Harley, he was always right there, ready and willing. And man, when I love seeing him in goal line situations when he was blocking for Shakir or any of the other running backs we had. He would pancake somebody and he would just be all livid. He was the most animated player I've ever seen. After a sack or anything, man, he get this Johnny Bravo dance going on. He'd be out there like this after a sack, something like that. In practice, he was a monster. I love watching him, man. One of the greatest things, he had a huge game in 2009 in the it was a sectional opener game, so our very first playoff game. And Chris was asked to play a little bit on offense. And so, sure enough, we get down there. Derek Hart, also on the list, rolls out, throws him a ball. He catches it perfectly, rolls, and just, man, we're all in the mud. And he holds his hand high in the air with the ball, man, because he's like, yeah, I got this, baby, I got it. And then after we got the lead finally, late in the game, in the fourth quarter, and he's, with the Franklin Central's driving, and those guys, they thought they were going to try to make one last ditch effort. Nope. Chris Harley said, nope, we're not going to end that. Walk-off sack. Sack in the game. Hey, y'all get ready for hoop season because that's y'all football season over for you guys. But Chris Harley was an absolute monster. One of in my opinion, probably one of the 2 or 3 best defensive line players ever in school history.
Virginia Tech too, right?
VT, go Hokies. Go Hokies. All right. Woo. All right, moving on. Number 19. I'm going to try to get through as much of this as I can because it does like we're going to have a little rain, but I ain't afraid of no rain. That's my equipment. All right, moving on. Number 19. A guy that played here for just one season, but, man, in that one season, he established himself as one of the all-time great offensive line players ever in school history.
What's up?
One of the nastiest, like aggressive. This dude was a monster blocking. Anytime he was on the field, he would probably get 2 or 3 pancake blocks. That's how nasty and crazy and good he was. A true great. He should have been a runner. He should have won Mr. Football his senior year. I'm talking about none other than Sherman Brooks, offensive lineman from the 2006 state championship team, voted the greatest team of all time, mind you.
Transferred in, correct?
Yes, transferred in. He moved in from Decatur Central. And here's another crazy thing. He's probably the only person, and not just, he's probably the only person in state history to block at 2 different schools for 2 different running backs that each rushed for 2,800 yards or more in the season. Absolutely incredible, man. Absolutely incredible. And he was really a guy that we needed. Not saying the rest of our guys on the 2006 offensive line weren't good. We had Andrew McDonald, that was great. We had Bryce Stone, Kyle Ron. Kyle Ron was a monster as well. But Sherman Brooks, adding him in that mix, oh my God.
Good luck trying to get through that.
Trying to get through it? Good luck trying to stop him from getting to you. This dude was really one of the true great offensive linemen of the era here in our school's history, man. And so that's the reason why he comes in at my list at number 19. All mixed players, all state as well. That's a phenomenal individual, man. So Sherman Brooks, hey, congrats, man. You made the list, baby. All right, moving on. Number 18, and really, I don't really talk about this guy too much. We all saw what he did last year. Let me just say this. Any other time a quarterback has the numbers, the stats like Jaden George had.
So I guess that's next on the list, Jaden George?
Yes. Number 18, Jaden George. Anytime a quarterback in our school's history would have those type of stats, he'd be Mr. Football. Easily. Threw for 400 yards, 7 touchdowns against North Central. Went undefeated against Carmel, Ben Davis, and Center Grove and faced all of them twice.
Toughest conference in the nation, baby.
Toughest conference in the nation. Yeah. The man had so much heart. And you know what? He took the legacy of his father and brother, and he really helped carry this team and lead them to a state championship like those guys did, man. That's some pressure.
That definitely is filling in your brother's shoes and your father's shoes too.
Exactly.
That's tough.
Like imagine if him, years later at the table during Thanksgiving, and you look at his father with his state championship rings on, look at his brother with his state championship ring on, and looking at you and you ain't got nothing. Like that's some pressure he was on, and you know what? In the state championship game, he excelled, man. He really excelled. He set a career record or team record, of completion percentage. He really broke a lot of his father's own passing records as well during his time here. He was really truly one of the best quarterbacks in school history, and that's the reason why I have him here at number 18, man.
He's walking on to Alabama.
Walking on to Alabama. Nick Saban don't take nobody if they soft.
I know.
So if Nick Saban thinks he can make his team better, I mean, what?
Yeah.
I mean, come on now. I mean, they trying to get better every day. I mean, they got guys going to the NFL. And he needs a guy that he can depend on, and obviously he feels like Jaden George is one of those guys.
Gonna bring something to the team, yeah.
He's going to bring something to the team. He's going to bring winning mentality to the team. That's for daggone sure. All right, number 17, another. And see, I have a lot of great. Our program really should be called O-line Youth. I can't even imagine how, like, there's so many guys that didn't make the list that any other time they would have been on any other schools. They would have been on their top 50, top 10 lists of all time. That's how great our program has been with offensive linemen. And this guy right here, before the three players in front of him or that are on the list came in the program, he was probably one of the all-time greats at the position. I'm talking about none other than Chris Price, offensive lineman. That's a phenomenal individual, all-MIC player, all-state player, all-county. That's ICA top 50 guy. That's one of the hard-nosed and really and I hate it because when I talk about those guys from the 90s and stuff, I don't have much to talk about with them because they unfortunately
keep stats like that.
Well, it wasn't necessarily that. I mean, they didn't have anything to really show for it. And I hate that.
Award-wise?
Yeah, award-wise. Like a couple of those teams, they made it to a sectional championship game or they were in the playoffs and did a little bit of stuff, but it wasn't really enough to say, oh man, who's that guy? Why is he on the wall? And unfortunately, Chris Price was part of those great teams or those teams that ever during that era that weren't necessarily that great in this. They got overshadowed by that team on the west side, unfortunately. But Chris Price, definitely one of the greatest offensive linemen in school history, man. It's absolutely phenomenal. Help coach here. That's an outstanding individual, man. Yeah, so Chris Price coming in at number 17, and woo! And another guy, let's see, I got on this list more. I'm telling you, man, our school is very fortunate and very lucky. Another offensive lineman. This one right here was the second person in school history, okay? Second person in school history to win the Mr. Football Award at offensive line. I'm talking about Andrew Campbell. Andrew Campbell, Big Drew.
Great.
Man, he, once again, a staple, a huge player for our 2003 state championship team. I mean, like, they don't give away Mr. Footballs for like nothing. So, like, obviously, everything I could say, I could cut all it down and say Mr. Football wins. And that should tell you enough why he's on the list. He won Mr. Football. He helped lead an offense that was really one of the top 5 best offenses in school history. 2003 state championship team.
Yeah.
And we all saw how well they were getting to the second level in that 03 state championship game. I mean, Desmond Carter would still be running up and down the field if he could right now against those guys. So,
yeah, he's definitely one of the guys that set the standard in the early 2000s for us.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And really, like, he had some other guys that he looked up to, like Chris Price, as mentioned, that really helped guide him and just, like, make him the great monster of an offensive lineman that he ended up being for us. And great coaching. Shout out to Coach Crum. Shout out to Coach Roman. Shout out to Coach Wright and Coach Burton as well for implementing a great system for us to keep turning out great offensive linemen year after year after year here in our program, man. That's absolutely outstanding. Woo! All right. And this guy right here, let me see. I can talk about how he was a guy that went on to play at Indiana State, but he was a guy that should have went on to play at Ohio State, at one of those other big time schools. Anytime he touched the ball at the next level, people was like, "Oh my God, why are you at Indiana State? Who was doing your recruiting? They should be fired," and they should be fired because Shakir Bell is one of the all-time greatest running backs in school history. At number 15, I like to call him Mr. 3000 for short, because he is the first person to rush for 3,000 yards, not just in school history, not just in MIC history, but in 5A history. He was the very first player to do so. And what's really crazy is the first person that... Yeah.
They're around for 3,800.
No, they're 2,800. But... what's it called? It's crazy because there was another guy years before named Daniel Carter that had the opportunity to be that, but unfortunately he came up against a team in the regionals.
37 or 35 rushing yards, I think, versus us.
Something like that. Yeah. Something like that. You know, he didn't have a good night. But Shakir Bell was a guy that just would not be stopped, man. He set the school record for carries in the season. All-purpose yards at the time. He set the all-purpose record for yards in the season with over 3,300 yards total. Just an absolutely outstanding individual. Had over 38 touchdowns. His senior season was of course, all-MIC selection, parade All-American. And really the thing I really hate about him was he did not win Mr. Football at running back, and he didn't win it the overall, but he came second in the overall voting. How is that possible?
I mean, we got robbed last year, so
we definitely got robbed.
You know how
last
they do us
year.
on the east side.
We definitely got robbed last year, but Shakir Bell at number 15 is just. I mean, the running backs that I have in front of them, I think everybody would agree those guys had phenomenal seasons, man. But Shakir Bell was another breed. Yeah. Shakir Bell was another breed, man. So shout out to him. Shout out to Shakir. I saw what you tweeted, man. I saw what you tweeted, all right? So you ain't got to be that way to your own teammate. I know how you feel, but come on now. All right. McKelty Williams coming in, number 14. A guy that was playing at you guys' place up there, up at South Bend for a little bit before he made some moves, and now he's at Northern Illinois. But McKelty Williams, my guy. A guy that was a 3-time All-MIC selection. He was, a Super Team Player of the Year, Indianapolis Star Super Team Player of the Year. Had 85 tackles, 7 interceptions his senior season, 400 yards and rushing, 8 touchdowns as well as senior season. And truthfully, I feel when he started as a sophomore, I really feel like that was his best season. And that was a season that we weren't that great offensively, but man, were we great defensively. And he was a guy that, man, every time the coaches needed him to make a play, later on, I mean, in the 2013 state championship game when Carmel's driving, a team that we're watching right now that's, they looking all right, but they're not looking like number one team in the state like everybody thinks they are. But maybe they're just trying, tease us a little bit. But in the 2003 state championship game, 2013, he came up with a huge interception for us, man, late in that second half that really helped secure the victory for us. And, I call him, Max Hernandez, and Cottrell Moss the last true blood belt players, because they were some of the last guys that were able to wear the blood belts the previous seasons under Coach Tutsy and those guys over there. So McKelty Williams was just a phenomenal, absolutely amazing player. There's not much more I can say that I haven't already said. Yeah. So,
blood belts.
Blood belts. Hey, you know what it is. And the next player I have here, another guy that was huge for our team last season, Ramir Elliott.
Coach's dream.
Man, what? Let me tell you, I never knew a person his size. Now, he's smaller than Shakir. Okay, you put Shakir and him next to each other. He's smaller in stature and height, but man, in heart, that man's heart is as big as a stadium. he had no quit in him at all. I mean, we could talk about the yardage and stuff like that till the cows come home. I mean, he rushed for 300 and some yards, 360 yards here, broke the school rushing record, turned around a couple weeks later and broke it over again and rushed over 400 yards, all right?
Yeah, he came close to taking over Shakir's ranking almost last year, didn't he?
Actually, he didn't. Actually, yes, he did get over 3,000 yards, so he's the second player in school history to have 3,000 yards, but he also broke Shakir's overall all-purpose yards record because of he had a lot more receiving and stuff records like that. But he was just an outstanding individual at running back. So humble, you talk to him that's quiet, but when you get him on that field, he was a monster, man. Up and down the field. If you just here on the stadium, what was it? The last home game we had against Center Grove in the semi-state game, right after we get a huge stop, a goal line stop, we're right there on like the 2 or 3 yard line, and we just need a couple of yards.
Get out of the end zone.
Let's give us some room to breathe. And what does he do? Boom! Right down the field, 80 plus yards, over. Center Grove, like you guys, thank you for coming out. Drive home safely. All right. That is what he did, and at the state championship game, the 3 touchdowns he had, the clincher. I mean, come on now, man. The opening touchdown that he rushes right up the sideline and jumps into the end zone to avoid the guy from Carmel. Man, I mean, he was his vision was outstanding. His hands were unbelievable. He ran great routes. And really, he's another guy that I know is going to do great things at the next level. And people are going to be like,
Southern Illinois, right?
Southern Illinois. Okay. But he's going to be a guy with people are going to be like, how in the world did you end up at Southern Illinois? You should be at Southern California. That's how great of a running back Ramir Elliott was, man. He was definitely a guy that played well beyond his size, height, and stature. All right, who we got here? Oh, Mr. Russell, how we doing today, my friend?
What's up, Sid?
Hey, man, we just going over the top 25, the greatest Washington football players of all time.
I've heard you've been getting it in, man.
Oh, we got to get it in over here, man. We got to get it in. Now, we just went to Ramir Elliott, number 13.
Talk to his mama today. He's doing well. He's doing well.
You guys heard it there first, man. He's doing well down there in Carbondale. He's doing well, and let's flip it over, man. Woo.
Getting into the top 12 now.
We're getting into the top. It's live, baby. It's live. What do you think so far? Have I done good picking so far?
This is a lot better than your 25 through 50. I'll give you that.
Way better?
Yes.
Way better?
Now you're making sense.
Now I'm making sense.
It's hard to mess this part up, though.
It's hard to mess it. Oh, come on now. Come on now, Mr. Holder.
Hey, he could have put. Never mind. I'm not going to say that.
Oh, come on now. Come on now. All right, moving on. One of my favorite players right here. Okay, you see that name right there?
I do.
Okay.
I don't hint for you. I know it's just middle school.
And his time here was absolutely phenomenal. Now he didn't have all the great stats and everything like that, but you know what? When you think of a guy like Josh Bailey, and you think of him as a linebacker a little bit. He played a little safety.
He played corner for us?
Yes, corner, running back, wide receiver. Just a Mr. Do everything.
Started at quarterback, didn't he? Coming in?
No, he did not. Hey, Anthony Weather, ladies and gentlemen. Anthony Weather right here. All right.
You would have been on my top 50.
Anthony Weather would have been on the top 50.
I ain't make the list. Oh, man. No,
That's right. Hey, you. I still got love for you, baby. I still got love for you.
No worries.
But we on number 12, Josh Bailey right now. And what do you think about that? Bay Dukes.
That's I like that. I like Josh Bailey in the top 15.
Yeah, Josh Bailey, man. And really, we could talk about the 99-yard touchdown that he had in the state championship game. We could talk about
huge play.
Huge play. I mean, in that game alone, in the 2004 state championship game, he had well over 230 total yards of offense in that game. And
because Fort Wayne Snyder just punted, and all the momentum they punted, punched to the 1 yard line.
Right on the one. You know, we think, they think, we got him.
With the okey doke.
With the biggest okey doke of all time. from a player that's also on the list, we're going to get to him later.
He's celebrating from the 50 on in because it's so wide open.
Man, from the 50th, he was celebrating as soon as he caught that ball.
Then danced in the end zone.
Man, what? He did the bad news in the end
yeah,
zone. One of the all-time greatest touchdown celebrations in school history. I know we're not really supposed to be talking about that, but you know what? That's a play Madden need to get that celebration in the game because I need that. I need that in my life. But Josh Bailey, really, the play that really solidified Josh Bailey in my eyes as one of the all-time greats was right here at this stadium in 2004 regional championship.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And I had a conversation with a guy last night, and I was like, man, the 2009 state championship game I feel is the greatest victory in school history. He's like, man, I think the 2004 regional game against Ben Davis was a better game.
I'm biased, and I will agree with that person.
And you know what? And here's why I say we're both right. Because I'll say that's the greatest state championship victory in school history. And I'll say that's the greatest non-state championship playoff victory in school history. Because that game right there, being down
20-7,
being down 2 touchdowns, 2 scores, and coming all the way back.
And now, don't forget, they took the opening kickoff back for a touchdown.
Yes, took the opening kickoff back.
After halftime.
And it was up to our defense. We forced 4 turnovers. Andre Hatchett had a crucial, huge interception late in the game. And
Dennis Mitchell said, "What's up?"
And then Josh Bailey, he comes through with a huge touchdown catch from Dexter Taylor where he basically walks into the end zone. And then we come back on the very next possession after a huge stop from the defense. And we run the play again, and it's open. And he's just down at the 1, setting up a huge touchdown for Darren Evans. And it was just that was a game, that was a moment. It was super cold. It was a game that we had to win. If we don't win that, there's no 4P.
Yeah.
There's no 4P, and our dynasty is a completely different. It changes everything. It changes everything. You cannot tell me a guy like Josh Bailey, if we didn't have him.
PTP
Exactly.
Yeah.
Big time guys make big time
players make big time
at big
plays,
moments.
big time games. They about to fight?
Let them scrap then.
He forgot he's on the east side, don't he?
We on the far east side, baby. What OB? What that dude from Miami said one time? You come down to the OB, you mess around, get your butt kicked. The same thing can be said about the east side. But I didn't say that. Though. I didn't say that.
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it either. All right. Let me see here. But yeah, Josh Bailey, man, that's an all-time great guy. Without him, we don't win in 2004. That was such a huge.
He's a big key piece.
Yes.
Great leader too. Great leader.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, number 12, Josh Bailey. Josh, hey, I love you, man. Hey, thanks, dog. Thank you. All right, coming in next, Clev Dog. Woo! Mike Clevenger. What more? Like I said, what more can I say about him? But Mr. Football. Mr. Football winner, the very first Mr. Football winner in school history of any kind, overall or position. He was before the next, or I think that's the last, before the last offensive lineman that I have on the list, I consider him the greatest offensive lineman in school history. He was just watching him here in my time, the 2002 offense was a thing of beauty because of guys like him. And he really set the tone week in and week out of really giving the best rushing attack at that time in school history as much power as they had. I mean, we don't rush for 4,000 yards if it weren't for Mike Clevenger.
Is that the controversial game versus?
Yeah, that was the game where we lost
overtime,
here.
Right?
Overtime against Ben Davis. It was a bad field, and unfortunately, they weren't able to get that last push to get the extra yards that they need. But,
Allegedly.
Yeah, exactly. But Mike Clevenger, an all-state guy, all-conference, of course. There's not much more I can say about him other than Mr. Football. So, Clev, I love you. I'm glad you finally got that state championship in 09. I told you that when we had our interview. Hey, thank you, man. I love you out there. Let me move this over some. Whew. Let me see here. Coming up next at number. Ooh, and now we get into the top 10.
Uh-oh.
Now we get to the top 10. Ooh,
It gets fun.
Ooh, it gets so much fun. Ooh, baby. Hey, this guy right here is probably, when people talk about great running backs, you know, everybody talks about, well, who do you think was better? Darren Evans, Shaquille Bell, Mark Bonds. Before this past season, now you can add in Ramir Elliott. Or coming in at number 11, Jewel Hampton. Or number 10, excuse me, Jewel Hampton. All right? And Jewel Hampton, for the 1 year that he was a true starter on offense for us here, because as a sophomore, he played a little bit. I remember him having a touchdown in 05, but he really broke out as a junior behind Darren Evans. And him and Darren tore North Central in the Week 5 game that we had at their place. He tore them to pieces. They both just ran up and down the field on them. But it wasn't really that he was able to get his just due and shine until it was his time.
His turn.
I mean, you got to do that. But you know what? He learned behind one of the all-time greats, and he really excelled his very first game as a starter because he had to sit out the first game against Maryville in Week 1, and that was a fortunate game that we lost. Week 2, though, Cleveland-Glenville came in here, and that was a huge team. Absolutely, they looked like they were a college
Cardell
team.
Jones.
No, the same school Cardell Jones went to, but he wasn't on that team. Yes, Ted Ginn Senior School, and a performance. I wish I would have been there. I was in college at the time, but I remember listening online to the game, and just absolutely amazing performance by him. He became the second person in school history, right behind another guy on our list, to rush for over 300 yards in a single game. I want to say he had like 330 or something like that. It was just an absolute monster performance. And when I finally saw film of it, when I came back, like, oh my God, this dude was tearing those defenders from Cleveland. They had no clue how to stop him. No clue whatsoever. Don't mess up my live video now, son. All right?
Oh, you live?
Yeah, I'm live.
Say hi.
Go ahead, say hi.
Hey, I'm part of 91.1 WEDM.
Yeah,
DJ
WEDM in the building.
DJ Jaren.
Yeah. I don't know about DJ Jaren, but
You know what Jewel was?
Jewel was a monster. That's
Jewel
what
was the combination of all the other dude's skills. He was power, speed, agility.
he was like Sale. He took all
used
their
to get,
powers and put them in one.
He used to get fits.
Huh? But hold on, you got to see this. Hey, how you doing, sweetheart?
Yes, he used to get scouts
You
and
said I
fits when he
can't
was a
see
sophomore.
the list. You've said it already.
I have. We had.
haven't even begun. It's over.
We at number 10. Well, you better sit here and watch because I'm about to put on a show for everybody.
Number 10.
Okay, number 10,
Seriously,
Jewel
really
Hampton,
not
number
putting
10.
on a show? Oh, I agree with that.
Okay. Oh, you agree with that one? She agrees with that one, everybody. Now.
Where's Albert Town at?
Oh my God! Get out of here! Get out of here!
That's not even on.
It's on. It's on, baby girl. It's on. Now, hold on. Let me take a sip.
Oh my gosh.
Now, coming in at number 9 is a guy that I think you two guys know a little bit about. He is a person I consider the all-time greatest at his position in school history. And now that we're getting deep into the list here, we're really getting into the guys that I feel like were the all-time greats at their position. And this guy, unfortunately, he didn't win state his senior season in 2011, but man, what he was able to do, what he was able to just dominate on the offensive line or dominate the opponent's offensive line, Sheldon Day at number 9. We went to a school up there in South Bend, we won't mention that name, but he was just absolutely amazing, man. He, Mr. Football winner at his position, the very first defensive lineman to win Mr. Football. What more can I say about the guy? He was...
Got an endless motor.
Here's
Top 5.
He's number 9. Here's one thing that
He's never done.
here's one thing I remember about Sheldon the most. It wasn't even during the senior season. It was during his junior year. We're at Center Grove. And we are going. Center Grove just scored, and they are going through their. They're getting ready to kick up PAT. And Sheldon's down there, and I guess they're mad, but you know what? They should be mad because they gave up a touchdown.
Yeah.
And these guys, they don't know about Sheldon Day or how good he is. Stupid. They should. He comes through and absolutely obliterates the center and runs through and blocks their PAT.
Remember that?
It absolutely destroyed it. Okay? Those plays like that, I was like, oh my God, I've never seen a defensive lineman from the interior, not from the edge, from the interior, do something like that. Absolutely a monster. A guy that was definitely worthy of being on this list. And, whoo, hey, Sheldon Day. And we saw what he did at the next level up there. So, hey.
I remember.
Hey, you know, I mean, he did great things, man. Here's one of his teammates right here.
He's still doing great things here,
Oh,
too.
we're joined by some of the all-time greats here, ladies and gentlemen. A guy I've already had on the show once, Josh Mosley, my guy, defensive line.
Exactly.
Wimbo in front of us as well.
Call him over here.
Hey, we got a lot of legends here. Of course, you yourself as a legend.
Scout team player, yeah.
Hey, you
Top 50.
Hey, you one of my all-time greats. You one of my best guys I ever trained, man. So hey, I appreciate you. But moving on. Now, how do you feel about Sheldon Day at number 9? How do you feel about that?
I like that. That's a good solid pick right there.
Solid pick.
Yeah, he deserves it.
You want him higher?
Go
ahead, Sean.
Higher.
Let me tell you my one complaint.
Okay.
And I love Sheldon so much. I love his brother, his mom was like,
I love Shane. Shout to Shane.
When they come here. The thing about Sheldon is,
Okay.
like you said, didn't win state senior year. It's not really his fault. You can only do so much as a D-lineman. But that team, was it 2011 senior year?
Correct.
That is the most disappointing team in school history. The most underachieving team in school history.
Well,
he was the best player on their team.
Well, you know what? That's debatable. Like I said, the two teams I feel like could have won state, the 02 and 2011 teams, are the teams that I really hate even mentioning that about. But you know,
02, that loss. Well, 02, that's it.
Yeah, 02. But you know, it's all right. It's all right. You know, you can't win them all.
Sheldon, the special thing about Sheldon is that dude worked so hard.
Absolutely.
To get to where he was kind of a late bloomer, but when he arrived, he arrived.
I mean, that's a lot of things you got to attribute to his coach and Coach Clark, man. I mean, Coach Clark taught a lot of great defensive linemen, and Sheldon Day is the best defensive lineman he's ever coached. He teaches them so hard. He teaches them things that they use still to this day if they make it to the next level and beyond. So Sheldon Day at number 9, I feel is a very, very worthy pick. And coming in, a guy that I love to death, a person I truly. What's going on with you, little guy? You good? You good? Y'all good? We're gonna sit here and watch me real quick. Sit over there for me real quick, all right?
We're gonna sit where?
Yeah, stand in front of me so I can see y'all. Got my little cousin's kids with me right here. You know, I gotta bring the kids to a Warren Shifty football game so they'll see some real football for once. But a guy that I consider to be the greatest offensive lineman in school history. I think you may know where I'm going with this.
I do.
Shai Holder, if I were to ask you who you think is the greatest offensive lineman in school history, who would you say?
Jason Onyebuagu.
Who?
J.O.
J.O. at number 8, Jason Onyebuagu. No, Jason Onyebuagu here. Let me turn this up. Turn my volume up right there, Shai. Turn my volume up right there. The top one. There we go. Yeah, turn it up, son. Can we hear me? Oh, we good. We good. You sure? Well, turn it down some. I mean, I'm all the way turned up as it is already.
He ain't about to get in trouble.
I ain't gonna do this to you.
All right. But number 8, Jason Onyebuagu. J.O. as short and sweet as he's known. One of the all-time greats. Like, literally, we talked about the Ben Davis game from 05. And there was a huge play where he just absolutely flings the guy in the air. Like the guy standing from Ben Davis. He's standing too close to the play. All-time highlight. Zach Gray says the all-time highlight. Flings him in the air. He looks like a rag doll. When you talk about great offensive linemen, you have to start with Jason Onyebuagu. There's no other way for you to talk about how great of our program is without mentioning him. And like,
coaching college too, right?
Coaching college, but it's like his time here. He played in the 2003 state championship game as a sophomore. Was a leader. Was one of the key players on the 2004
Making a lot of
state
calls up
championship
front.
team.
Make a lot of calls up front and center.
Yes, and absolutely, he was the reason why our offense in 2005 was unstoppable. Was absolutely unstoppable, man. We rushed for well over 5,000 yards that season. That's incredible. And absolutely incredible. And because of guys like J.O., because of guys like Brian Beadler, my man Jacob McLaurin, and other guys that were on that line, man, we were just unstoppable on fly. But J.O. was a centerpiece. He was the anchor. He was the greatest offensive lineman in school history. And then Mr. Football award winner as well. I mean, I could talk about him all day, but we got a little crowd here, so that's how it is. What do you think about that pick? Is that good?
Yes, I hated going against him at practice. We always did team. When I was on the scout team, I was hoping I had the blitz. Luckily, I was in the secondary. And when I did have the blitz, I was hoping he was out the middle. He pancaked me one time. I think he was doing field goals, and I was just...
He only pancaked you one time?
Well, I made sure I moved. I made sure I moved again. Make sure I try to rest the edge next time.
Okay. Yeah. Well, moving on to number 7. Moving on to number 7, my guy, one of my all-time favorite players, my idol, a guy that made me fall in love with Warren Central football, a guy Kyle Wimberly loves this guy as well. Coming in at number 7, none other than number 7 himself, Desmond Tardy, one of the best quarterbacks in school history, and just his position on the list in my eyes was really solidified before the state championship game. I already considered him to be one of the greatest, but his performance in that 2003 state championship game, over 300 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns, just absolutely astounding. There's never been a performance like that ever before.
It's a guy with the ball. It's a guy with the ball in his hands and has the opportunity to score every time he touches the ball.
Every time, and he did that.
He's open field, you're not catching. Open field, you're not catching.
Yes, well, and I think he rushed for like 15, 16, 1,700 yards as a senior, and just like, man, this kid,
$7 million in state or something. Yeah.
Man, he was still
at halftime.
He was still, like I just said about Andrew Campbell earlier, he would still be running if the game was still going on now. Okay, if he'd have played it in the second half. If he'd have played in the second half, he'd have had well over 400 yards rushing. Easy.
I was hoping on one of his long runs he would have just ran through like the locker room area.
Like Bo Jackson?
Yeah, like Bo Jackson.
That would have been an amazing sight, but Desmond Tardy, man. What more can I say about Desmond Tardy? Desmond Tardy, he broke the curse. He broke the streak of beating Ben Davis for the first time in over a decade right here at the stadium. I remember being there, rushing the field. That hadn't happened.
It was a field goal kick in the game, right?
Yes, the game where he kicked the field goal to win. So the scrimmage is over. The players are walking off the field now. See, I wish I would have wore the gold helmets with this look, man. That would have been a lot cooler and cleaner to look. Let's look.
And I thought we had nice uniforms my senior year.
We did have some nice ones. These uniforms aren't too bad. I will say that. Nothing was cleaner than that all white underwear.
Dexter wore the first time ever. Then he had the first time ever. Under Armour shoes.
And the cleanest, the absolute cleanest. I had to edit all this.
You good?
All right. Where we at? Oh, okay. Coming in at number 6. Number 6. Now, when I talk about greats, okay, when I talk about great linebackers in school history, you know where I'm going?
I already know.
You already know where I'm going? Hey, shot holder. If I was going to ask you, okay, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is the greatest linebacker in school history?
I mean, one of the first names that comes to mind is Chris Graham.
Chris Graham at number 6. Chris Graham at number 6, ladies and gentlemen. And this guy.
And he went to your school.
He did go to Michigan, graduated from Michigan, ended up beating Tim Tebow in a bowl game, a team that went on to win the national championship the next year. But Chris Graham was just an absolute monster around here.
He solidified the brick position at linebacker, right?
Yes, absolutely. And here are just some of his stats from his senior season, okay? 180 total tackles. School record.
Almost had me cuss.
School record 180 total tackles, okay? 19 tackles for loss, 4 sacks, 1 interception, 1 defensive touchdown. The man was just there's never been a better model for what you want your middle linebacker to be. The only better middle linebacker model you can have is Ray Lewis. That's the only better middle linebacker you can ever possibly want, other than a guy like Chris Graham. That's how great Chris Graham was, man. Brick, everybody knows him as Brick, and he's just like
Set the standard for linebackers through the whole mid 2000s.
Set the standard for linebackers forever in my eyes. Forever, like every middle linebacker now is like, okay, that guy's great, but he's not Brick. He's not Brick, and that's a testament to Coach Clutzy and Coach Massey coaching him up and getting him to where he needs to be.
You know what I was thinking about earlier, because I was thinking about your list, is what I might change here and there. We haven't seen linebackers hit hard since Brick left, since Hatchet left. We haven't seen hitting like that.
Well, those guys
on a consistent basis.
On a consistent basis, yes.
Those dudes were to be feared.
I feel like Cottrell Moss was a really great hitter and striker like that. I don't know. I'm sure Coach Massey was a great striker in his time, but
it's a different game now.
It is a different day. You are correct. It is definitely a different day. Now, here, let's pause it real quick here, folks. One moment. What I want to do next, I gotta play music before we get to music. Oh no, let's see how high.
Ripple said Ripple Rocket, not a true
Ripple Rocket is not a true warrior. Well, D Mitch, hey, I can't. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. Hey, it is what it is. I'm sorry. Hey, I still got love for C9. My C9 was here somewhere. I saw him. Did you see him?
He wasn't happy.
C9. He's the one working with J School. How you put J School on it? And not C9.
Oh, wait, he wasn't on there?
Huh?
He was on there, wasn't he?
Who?
He wasn't on there at all?
I love C9.
How do you put J Stu and not C9? C9? Read J. Oh, Ken. We might be on.
I thought we dismissed him.
We dismissed
We
him.
might be on no speaking
We
terms.
still love him. We still love
might
him.
be on no speaking terms.
You see my 10?
Brick, I'm cool
Oh,
with
I'm
that.
done.
You probably can jump me
Oh, you're going this way?
Yeah. I haven't done the
How
top
long did you
5
work
yet.
on this?
Months.
You've been working on this for 2 years, man.
Ha.
Jewel
It
10,
feels
7,
like
11,
that.
I like that.
It feels like that.
I like
Hold
that.
on. We about to,
Oh, you
we
haven't
about to
unveiled
unveil
it.
it. We about to unveil it.
I didn't know you're still in the air.
Oh yeah, we still good. We still rolling. I'm waiting on things to get a little bit more quiet. Chris Harley, come here. Chris Harley, I don't know if you've heard, but I want to let you know you landed at number 20 on the list.
Number 20.
I said top 15. I said top 15.
Number 20 on the list, but you still my guy, man.
I said top 15.
Well, you know what?
It's
It's all good, baby. All right, perfect.
Yeah, you beat Hatchet. That's
See now.
See the mic real quick, KIW?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hey, I just want to let everybody know that KIW is the most hated man. Am I recording my own? I ain't on. I just want to let you know that KIW is the most hated man in Warren right now. Just putting it out there. So,
I love it.
Hey,
I love it. I feel like Skip Bayless right now.
hey, he's
Bring it
the
on.
most hated man in Warren right
Bring it
now.
on.
Most hated
Bring it
man.
on.
All right? Most hated man.
You ain't even heard my top 5
Hey,
yet.
but it's all good. It's all
You ain't even heard
good.
my top 5. It's like a legend here. What's this, man? What you doing?
All the years we put in, kid.
What's that?
You tripping. Listen,
Hey,
you were wet behind the ears still. You don't realize.
hey, it's all right. You good? Oh, move out the way a little bit. Move out the way a little bit.
camera time, cuz.
I know. We can see camera time.
Let me see this.
Hold on. You can't see.
You ain't done yet?
We ain't done yet. We gotta do top 5. We gotta do top 5. All right.
Let me see this. Look.
It got a little wild.
You had Jay still on the
Hey, see now I still love you though. Hey, see now I still got my bracelet, baby. All right, let's see.
You don't realize the sacrifice of that. He could have been starting running back. He played running back all over the school and killed.
Who?
Courtney.
Oh, I don't doubt it.
Right back on.
I don't doubt it, but hey, we're not playing shoulda, coulda, woulda
We can't
around
punish
here.
dudes for having to have the
All right.
quarter.
Can I see your hat?
Oh, must my hat. Take it off. Here we go. All right, here we go.
All you need is that purple. That's all you need.
We're gonna put it backwards. I'll rock it backwards like this. Let me make sure my stuff is on.
Yeah, you see me right here if I need to. Watch out, John. Watch out. See me right here, kid?
What's that?
See me right here?
What's that? Oh my God! You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be that guy. Huh? Are you grooving? And here now, we have a little technical difficulties because I had some plan. I need to have it work.
You edit it in now.
Man, ain't that the truth? That's right. I did so much editing on this one.
You ugly.
Really?
We'll keep that. Make sure you keep that in. That's hilarious.
This is not working. All right, let me see your phone. Where YouTube at?
YouTube.
Or Apple Music or something.
Yeah, Apple Music, what you need.
Get off my head. Whose phone is that? You got two phones right there?
Oh, no, not that. That's one of the
Two phones.
You're here. You don't got him. You can't get me. I just got you. You cannot get me. You got to get somebody else. Get your water. Nope. I already looked. You did it again. Twice. That's crazy.
Why you trying to get me like that?
I am boycotting kids.
That's all right.
You go. Let's go to the internet.
Let's see. Let me make sure it's
I got your lettuce. I got your lettuce.
You got your landers
Had on
too?
back for the top 5. It's about to get
That's fine. That's long.
What y'all doing? Podcasting? Y'all podcasting?
There we go. All right.
Y'all podcasting?
Yeah, we podcasting. And I don't know why my stuff is not working right now. Ladies and gentlemen. Which one? Oh, you
Oh,
good.
that was the wolf?
Oh, okay. Is it coming through? Let me see, make sure it's coming through. Alright, we good. We good. Ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. Hold on. Stop it. Somebody, no wonder my stuff ain't working.
Somebody unplugged them.
Somebody unplugged it.
You can unplug? I told you to put that carpet over. You don't want to listen.
Boo! I'm changing the numbers.
He didn't want to listen. Somebody hacked him, didn't like his list, so they unplugged him.
Is this the top? Do you have
We're
the
on the top. We're going to top 5.
Okay, what has he done? What have I missed?
Give me some names.
No, I'm mad because my senior's on there, so that I'm done.
That's all you need to know.
Anthony Weather, is he on there at all?
Not on there.
Oh my God!
I agree.
I'm done. Yay! I'm done. We are not on speaking terms all week.
You're
What
0 for 2 with her players right now.
That's fine. Did she see my top 5?
No, she was asking about players on there.
Top line.
Alright. Now,
Stop.
alright. We back.
Fix my shirt. Why did y'all
Test, 1, 2. Okay, now we good. Alright. Now,
You could be right there, but don't be in there.
ladies and gentlemen, the time has come. The top 5. And we're going to do this a little bit differently. Folks. Alright. You hear it. Top 5 greatest players in Warren Central School history. Alright? I'm not going to give any specific order just yet. I just want to let people know who they are. And they probably should already know who they are. Alright? Coming in
You're not revealing those.
I'm not revealing. I'm just giving the name.
So you got to switch it up now.
So,
You said coming in. So
Darren Evans, top 5. Jeff George Sr., top 5. Jeremy Finch, top 5. Okay. How's that so far? Have I done pretty good so far? Are you sure?
positive.
Dexter Taylor, top 5. And a guy that just left this building last season, David Bell, top 5. No.
He just named the top 5. He put him in order.
But Deb's
Deb's number 7, so obviously.
Dexter's the second greatest quarterback in the league.
Maybe he's the first. I don't know.
But hey, you know what? Hey, you know what? Just like I've done with all my picks, I back it up with information. I don't do this. Like I said, I don't do this half-hearted. All right. Like I said, I put a lot of time and effort into this list. All right.
Made a short list.
Correct. And like I said, one thing I love about my team in this program, about this field right here, we've had so many greats, but there has to be a number 1. But first, before we can get to number 1, hold on, buddy. Hold on. You're gonna learn. All right. Before we can get to number 1, all right. Number 5. And really, it's really funny that Shad has talked about this person, because Dexter Taylor, number 5 on the field, is number 5 on my list. And the reason why Dexter comes in at number 5, he's probably the most elusive, speedy, just all-around talented quarterback in school history. And he did so many great things for our program.
What is a running back?
They run the ball.
He did so many great things for our program, and
They throw the ball.
yeah, that's what he
The
did.
running back runs it.
He did so many great things for our program, and just like people think, why do you have him? Well, here's the thing with Dexter, okay? Dexter Taylor and Jeff George have 2 things in common. They are the only quarterbacks in school history to lead our program to back-to-back state championships. That right there speaks volumes to me. Dexter was 12-0 in the playoffs. Key victories here against Ben Davis
I
in
thought you was the
04.
coach.
Key victory against Columbus North on the road as a starting quarterback.
Come on.
Well, hey, Columbus North now is good, but hey, back then that was a semi-state game, okay? That game was huge, okay? That 2004 semi-state game was jam-packed. Now we ended up blowing them out, but I mean I don't know what to say. But and then we did. But then the 2004 state championship game was where he really excelled and stepped up. You know, I talked about the Josh Bailey's. Hold on, little guy. I talked about Josh Bailey's huge touchdown pass that he had, but he also had 3 other rushing touchdowns. One of the craziest touchdowns I've ever seen. He's passing the ball off to Sadell Moss. Okay, and Sadell, he's pitching, and he pitches the ball to Sadell, but Sadell wasn't right in the right section of the area, and the ball bounces, and one of the guys from Fort Wayne Snyder, 2 guys actually should have picked the ball up and ran the other way for a defensive touchdown, but they both over pursue on it, and Dexter follows the play and scoops the ball up and walks into the end zone for a touchdown. Like, that was such a crazy play, and I remember watching that with a former player, and it was like, that play, it wouldn't have gone any other way good for us except for that way. So, yeah, here, hold on, guys, back us up. So it was just a huge play in 2 state championship games, in 04 and 05. He totaled 8 total touchdowns. 8 total touchdowns. Three rushing in each, and a passing touchdown in each game as well. Just an absolute amazing player. Was also the first quarterback, to rush for over 2,000 yards in a single season, and not just school history but state history, man. It's an absolutely outstanding individual, and the reason why that's one of the reasons why he became the 2nd overall Mr. Football winner in school history.
He's an athletic freak.
Yes, an absolute athletic freak.
Very fast, quick. agile.
Yes.
I hated going against him in scout team. I did pick him off a couple times. I'll give it that. Big things still about me with him was get that big run our senior year. Evan Davis. Yeah, senior. He jumped over.
Yes, and he hurdled over a bunch of guys on the pile and walked in for like a 19-yard touchdown.
That was a little bit longer than that, like a 40-yard run. Yeah.
Well, I thought, okay, maybe it was a little bit longer than that, but either way, he still was. He did plays like that all the time in each and every game, man, that show and prove why he's one of the greatest quarterbacks in school history. All right, coming in at number 4. Like I said, this guy right here, last year, he did a lot of great things. And David Bell coming in at number 4, the all-time greatest wide receiver in school history, arguably the greatest wide receiver in state history as well, became the first person in not just school history, but the first person in mid-conference history to be a 4-time all-mixed selection. Nobody's ever come to that. There have been a lot of guys, or I won't say a lot of guys, there's been a handful of guys that have been 3-time all-mixed players. We've had a couple with Mark Bonds, like I mentioned before. Dexter Taylor wasn't one. And 2 other guys on our list that I still haven't talked about were the other 2 guys that were 3-time. But this guy right here, a 4-time all-mixed player, Gatorade National Player of the Year for the state of Indiana. Just an absolute amazing player. You know, you talk about his talent and what he did week in and week out here. Just last season alone, okay? Just last season alone, all right? He had 85 receptions, 1,500 yards, over 1,500 yards, and 22 touchdowns. And he had all that, and he didn't score a touchdown in 3 games. He didn't score a touchdown in the first game. He didn't score a touchdown, of course, in the game he had to sit out. And he didn't score a touchdown in the state championship. So 22 touchdowns in 11 games.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of like, he would be like, if Desmond was a receiver here, that's how he kind of reminds me of the way they run. When they get in stride, you're not catching.
Just any time that he was put on single coverage, I'm like, what are you guys thinking? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Are you stupid? Okay? You don't have a guy that can cover him one-on-one. Nobody does. Probably teams in the NFL don't probably have a guy that can cover him one-on-one. And you guys going to do that? All right. That's the reason why he had a 4th and 28-yard touchdown right here. Against Cromwell, yes.
He had that game-winning touchdown versus Trinity, too?
No, they're not selling it for free. Right. Yeah, and then the huge win that we had on national TV against Trinity, I mean,
down big, too.
Down big, and it's came back, and it's absolutely amazing performance in that game on national television. David Bell made plays all throughout his career here, and he deserves to be at number 4 on the list. All right. Now here's where the real controversy starts. But you got the real controversy, and a lot of people, they're gonna hate me for this, but you know what? I have my reasons for it. And coming in at number 3, the person that a lot of people consider to be, at the time, to be the greatest quarterback and still one of the great quarterbacks of all time, Jeff George. And Jeff George, he was just a staple. I mean, he was a pure passing quarterback long before that was a thing, and not just state of Indiana, but all over the country. One of the top recruits all over the country as well. Gatorade National Player of the Year, not just for Indiana, but the entire nation. Led our team to 2 undefeated back-to-back seasons. It's absolutely amazing. He helped establish our program right here as a team that could win titles. I mean, we had won little titles before, like we said, we won county championships before, but we hadn't won anything of that magnitude before. And him winning that state championship in 1984 and then coming back another year and being undefeated again, because everybody knows how tough it is to repeat. This team's about to find out how tough it is to repeat. Okay?
Hard on your back.
It is hard on you, man. Everybody's gunning for you. Everybody wants to break that up. And everybody's going to give you their best. And when you're at Warren Central, you're definitely going to get everybody's best.
They moved up.
Well, I mean, still, but everybody still gave them their best. I mean, it's not like they're going to lay down for them. I mean, Carmel in 1985, there was a huge game.
It's different playing the same teams that you put out the year before.
True, but in 1985, in the regional championship game, Carmel had us down, and Jeff George led us down the field to win the game. All right, so that's huge. That's huge.
He's top 5.
Top 5. Hey,
Is this jersey retired?
yes.
11, right?
Nobody wears number 12 anymore because of Jeff George. So Jeff George at number 3. I'm just going to unveil the final 2. Of course, if you had to guess, who would you pick to be my second best player of all time? You know,
the 2 you have left, I probably wouldn't have them both up there. But my number 1, I know who would be on that too.
Okay.
My number 1 would be Finch.
Your number 1 would be who? Finch.
Yeah.
What about you?
I probably would go with Finch too. 'Cause he's the only player. You probably already got the facts, so I'd say I'd probably go with Finch too.
It's harder to stand out doing from where he stood out than it is at running back.
Hey, you know what? This is the reason why I love you guys, because I do indeed have Jeremy Finch at number 1. Jeremy Finch. And it was a tough decision. I went back and forth a long time about this. Jeremy Finch is probably my all-time favorite player ever in school history. Just watching him, and people want to give me crap for all this. Well, he did this after he left here. He didn't do anything in college. Once again, my criteria was I do not care what you do once you leave this field. Once you're done putting on the jersey, I do not care. It's all about your time here at Warren Central. I understand he has some hard things he went through in his life. I understand that, but Jeremy Finch right here on this field was.
We ran a 4-4 defense with 1 high safety. He covered sideline to sideline.
Nobody does that. Who does that? That is a cheat code. I talked to Coach Husey about this at length weeks ago. It's like, who does that? Nobody does that. Nobody did it then, and nobody does it now because it's impossible to do. Jeremy Finch changed offenses in the state of Indiana. He changed the way those guys had to attack.
You talk about a player flashing across your screen. It was just flash all the time with Finch. I remember a friend of mine's older brother was driving by here one day during like summer practice 2 days or something, and Finch was so good that he was like, from the street, he said, "Who is that dude?" His freshman year, "Who is that dude?" And it was Finch.
Jeremy Finch was another thing here, and I'm going to talk about Darren in a moment here, but Jeremy Finch was he became the only person in state history to win a state championship 4 times. He played in a total of, what was it? There was 4 times. I think he played in a total of 14 state championship game quarters. He started as a sophomore and junior and senior and played the second half of the 2003 state championship game. Who does that? Okay. Jeremy Finch does that. Here are just some of his stats from his time as a player, okay? He had 6 interceptions as a sophomore. Pretty good, and about 80 or so tackles. As a junior, I could make an argument this was probably one of the greatest seasons anybody has ever had.
And he missed his first game of the season, right?
Yes.
And he can punt.
We ain't got that.
I haven't even got it about his perfect spiral punts, which I've never seen anybody do before or after. Jeremy Finch in 2005 had 9 interceptions. 9. Okay? I don't know why people were even throwing it in his vicinity, and finally teams smartened up at when
they weren't even throwing. He went and got those balls.
Exactly. He did went and get a lot of those balls too. He had a lot of strips and returns for touchdowns. He had back-to-back weeks.
He's just a playmaker.
Absolutely, the ball hawk. Nobody called anybody ball hawks before Jeremy Finch.
And he laughs the whole time when he sees him throw the ball.
Exactly. Jeremy Finch in back-to-back weeks in 2005 had, in the first 2 plays of a defense, he had a touchdown. He had a defensive touchdown in the first 2 plays of the game. I've never seen a guy do that. Jeremy Finch did that, and it's like he was absolutely incredible. And then his senior season, teams finally got smart, and he only got 2 picks because nobody threw around him. And
Well, you had a lot of 4 and outs too.
There were a lot.
What they give it, like 7 points a game or something?
It was something crazy. I mean, that's the greatest defense of all time.
You weren't doing nothing on that team.
So, but his senior season, I mean, he really dominated when it was time for him to make a play. I mean, a guy that's 15 yards deep makes a play in the backfield. How's that possible? Jeremy Finch is the only guy I've seen that can make
St. Louis.
Yes,
his junior year.
Huge play. Could return punts, and he returned a punt against Carmel here, and watch, when you see on the film, you just let the bodies hit the floor. That's how much carnage it was. Because those guys love blocking for Jeremy when he hit the ball in his hands.
Like he was running fast.
Man, he's graceful. So graceful, just glided everywhere, man. It was just like, he's the most special player I've ever seen, man.
Sorry, kid, I didn't have the football.
It's all right. It's all right. Those are my cousin's kids, so I got them. I got them out here. It's all right. They never been to, like I said, they never been to a Warren football game. So, but let me talk about Darren Evans at number 2. And Darren Evans could have easily, any other place, he would have easily been the greatest player of all time by a landslide, by an absolute landslide. I call him the GOAT running back. Okay. Just in he's a 2-time National Player of the Year as a sophomore and as a senior, okay? He rushed for over 6,000 yards his senior season. If
6,000 yards is total, you mean?
6,000 yards total in his career, excuse me, my fault. Which I still believe is a conference record. It's a school record, but his senior season alone, if he would have played more than two quarters in a possession, he would have rushed for over 3,000 yards and we had close to 80 touchdowns. I mean, that's how great he was. I mean, like, he had 61 touchdowns his senior year and didn't score a touchdown in one game. Think about how crazy that is. His last game here in a 2006 state championship game, he had over 200 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns. Easy work. Easy work, all right? Like, he was just... I could talk about him all day long.
So you came in as a linebacker too, right? His freshman year, and he played linebacker.
I don't know.
I think he moved to fullback. So I remember, obviously, when I tore my ACL, I didn't get to play my senior year. I got to spend a lot of time with the coaches and stuff. And I think Coach Wright told me that, like his sophomore year, he wrote like he wanted to be like an all-state running back, and they're kind of like, "Who is this kid?" And then,
well, whoever decides to make him a running back, they need to get a raise, or somebody buy them a steak dinner or something, because that's the smartest decision anybody's ever made. Like, he's so worthy of this. Like, he's a GOAT running back. I mean, you see him, he's so powerful. I mean, people, they say it's like trying to tackle a refrigerator out there, man. He moves so great. He moves so powerfully on the field, man. So much speed and everything. And now, well, it looks like good thing we made it through that. Now they didn't shut the lights off. They telling us to roll out, man. So how'd I do? The bottom 25. How'd I do, guys?
You made up for some of your earlier mishaps. So,
well, you know what? Like I said to people, man, I took this task upon me to really, nobody had done it, and I felt like it was up to me to do it. And people said I shouldn't do it. People said it can't be done. I was like, you know what? Screw that. I'm doing it anyway, and I did it. So now it opens up a debate for so many other people.
We're gonna get their list.
Yeah, I should be here. I should be there and stuff like that. That guy wasn't better than me, and you know what, guys? I'll let you debate it because I ain't never doing this again. I ain't never doing this.
You're gonna do it all decade, too.
No. People had already told me
position by position.
People have already told me I should do a position by position and an all decade team.
That's
no,
11.
Not doing it because here's one thing I knew coming in: you're never gonna make anybody happy. You're never. Everybody's gonna be like, oh, but man, like my guy C9. I love C9. I thought J.Stu was a better defensive back.
Smoking.
Hey, I'm sorry. The stats prove it, and my eyes prove it too. Because
hold on, let me tell you.
My eyes prove it too.
Let me tell you something about stats, kid.
Ha.
They don't tell the full story.
That is right.
Like you said,
that is right.
Like Stephen A. Smith always says, you are not incorrect, but you are incomplete. And stats don't tell the full story. Well, they are correct, but they are not always complete.
Well, you know what? When you make your list, you make your top 50, you make sure you go through everything and you post it for everybody to see, and I'll retweet it for everybody to see.
I will, and I want all the smoke.
You want all the smoke? Well, here, I'm walking through like Shawn Michaels over here. So, you see that GIF?
You were,
that was good.
Hey, I'm walking through it, man. Hey, I love doing this show. I love doing this for the people out there. And I couldn't be more happy.
Keep it alive.
So, hey, everybody out there, thanks for watching. Thanks, Jeremy, for being a great,
seeing you again, man.
Great guest today on the show,
sir.
man.
We'll get to get together again.
Absolutely. Shot, thanks for butting in a few times and doing your thing, man.
Just trying to save you, kid, man. You got people to beat you up out here.
That's all right. Hey, come on now. I ain't worried.
As he looks over his shoulder.
And like I tweeted, texted somebody else before, I ain't never scared. I take that bone crusher, man. All right.
Oh man.
Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's been great. Warrior Band, take us away.
Can I play with your tablet?
I remember going to see when I was going to Indiana State. I was going to Indiana State, and they had a game up there against North, I believe.
We're done.
had a game against North, and I was walking out, the team was walking out with some friends from college, and Dan was next to us. There was like